Hey, after was it? Could you call it a 3 week absence?
We missed two Wednesdays, so
Yeah.
you know.
So it's a 3 week absence. We almost went a month without getting together. So we're here, and of course, it was a personal story. You,
Well, part of that, and I don't know. I mean, I think most of the people that follow this on a regular basis probably follow me on social media. But my father passed away. It was 3 weeks ago Sunday.
yeah.
Yeah, and so the first time we missed was because we went. It was after he'd passed away. We went to my mother's house.
Hmm.
Michelle and I didn't think we were going to because I'd reached out to you about uh, 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 streaming. I was going to say
Hmm.
podcasting about
Yeah,
streaming.
you did. You did at the last second, but I just assumed everything was probably in the air, and so Hola, Fly Fox Pro. Um,
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
happened.
so that was just my assumption. I should have checked with you first, and then the next week, I guess it was just a matter of
Well, I
I
got
don't know. I thought the same thing would be going on. Are you okay?
yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera to turn in the right direction. So anyway, so I'd gone to my mom's that Wednesday after Dad passed away, which we'd been
Mhm.
there pretty much constantly since then, which makes sense. Uh, but I thought we weren't going to that night, and then when I got home, Michelle said we're going to your mom. So I said, "Oh, okay." Well, so that's why we didn't record that night. Well, then the next week, I just got busy and forgot to email you.
Mhm.
With everything crazy going on, of course. The last couple of weeks have been a little, and it's not really that. I mean, even though it is that, we spent that week after Dad passed, we were at Mom's house probably every night. But the it's been crazy at work, and it just and it wears on. And literally, at lunchtime, which is when I normally would email you,
Mhm.
I I just literally just sit in my car and collapse, just pass out.
That collapsing stuff is a real thing. Oh, you're showing us a bunch of
Well, I'm looking. Well,
work.
this is my sketchbook. I got this right before the pandemic, and I'm enjoying it. But the problem is these sketchbooks that are bound on the short side
Mhm.
tend to get to me they tend to get take a lot of damage because there's a lot of support for the drawing. But anyway, so I'm trying to find. I got my little story I'm working on in here somewhere, but I'm having fun drawing. This is a little bigger than I'm used to carrying around, so I'm enjoying it. The size, but it's a little fragile, I think. Also, the other thing is, I want to do a YouTube video, but I don't know how I would show this. I mean, I guess I could do like because half the pages are upside down, because of the way it's bound. Uh,
It seems weird to me that so much. It's like I say about the zeitgeist that everyone seems to be very aware that they if they've got any content creation creativity in them, they ought to be on YouTube all of a sudden. And it's not like this hasn't been going on for a few years,
yeah,
but it just seems like it got so intensified that it's like the cliche of being in Hollywood not having a script to pitch. It's like, who are you? Of course you've got a channel. That
it,
sort of
it
thing.
it's because people follow success
Yes, yes,
rather
absolutely.
than
Yes, it's not
people.
like yeah, that it was screaming to you before until you heard somebody was making money and you go, "What? You're making money for just doing that?"
Yeah, this is the order you should watch the Prisoner episodes in. By the way,
Okay, that's the or there is, I guess, the way they appeared, I guess, could be considered.
that's one order, but it's not the correct order because if
Yeah.
you watch them, some of them reference the previous stuff, or he'll say, they'll say, "Oh, you're new to the village," and if you watch them in the aired order, it might be like, 3/4 of the way through the series.
Yeah, yeah, they would have built on what they were up to. But
Right, but for some reason they were released in the wrong order.
it's interesting. No, that would probably be my big stab at trying to be have content that was worth something. Would be to talk about movies and stuff. There's a guy that's called Lundum or something like that, goes there and he talks about old cowboy movies and his love of John Wayne, but he's always got like it's like he's just basically transcribed the trivia from Internet Movie Database and
Oh, yeah.
has made a channel out of it, and it's like it's working for him. Why not? And that's what
Look at this,
almost all of this stuff is.
Oh,
Hey, that's pretty nice. Yeah.
yeah. If I had nothing else to do, I could sit around and draw stuff like this all day, man.
Well, that's what you want to do. That's what
I
it
know.
was all about.
Look at this. This is good. This is what I like about this bigger sketchbook.
Let you sprawl a bit.
You can kind of fill it up. I mean, it's kind of a pain in the neck to carry around, but it's just nice. I like filling up a page with sketches. Good grief, where are my thumbnails at, Ellis? I know they're in here. Okay, so I currently have like 299 followers on YouTube.
Hey, congrats.
Well, I've been building it up, and for some reason, it's like the more you get, the faster you get them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, hey, let me show you this. I think it was the Wolfman. I watched the Wolfman. This is a scene from the Wolfman. The old
Oh, yeah. Well,
movie,
some of those great shots and those old Universal things.
Broad, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they inspire you just looking at them. You react to them from the artistic talent that went into framing that shot. Yeah, I don't know about Wolfman. Was it? Do you know of the cinematographer James Wong Ho was on? Gosh, every other thing back in the day.
Oh, no, I don't know anything about it. I have listened to. Do you ever go to a website called Listen to a Movie?
Yes.
Hey, check that out. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Listen to a Movie. They have the commentary track of I think it's the Wolfman.
Oh, really? And it's just a couple of buffs talking about it, huh?
No. It's like the criteria. No. Listen to a Movie is they play audios from movies.
Right.
On the website, and the commentary track is the one on the Criterion DVD.
Ah, cool, very cool.
I think it's Criterion, but anyway, it's the commentary. I mean, it wasn't recorded when it came out, obviously.
Yeah. It's post.
But golly, this is pissing me off, Ellis.
You're looking for your thumbnails, and you were sure they were in that sketchbook.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if I did them. I think I did them on something else. Anyway.
Did them on a napkin.
No.
Old mistake.
On a piece of paper.
Did them on a coffee filter.
Nope.
Speaking of which, I may bound up and go get my last cup of coffee for the night. I've said I'll explain what I'm up to.
Okay.
I'm there was a recent controversy. I don't know the total details of it. That John Malin and Michael, not Michael Weldon. We always everybody just calls him Weldon. They drew similar things for something, and Weldon was being accused of ripping off something, and it turns out that Weldon's work went on prior. So since it was a funny, non-important kind of thing that was turned into a controversy, I figured I'd do drawings of nothing but women with attractive posteriors hanging off the end of motorcycles tonight. So that's my big chore tonight.
All right. Well, there are worse things to commit in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, exactly. It'll challenge me to
From motorcycles,
draw motorcycles. Yeah, yeah. Motorcycles from my mind.
yourself and draw them on horses. Are you wearing a headset?
I am. Why do
Wow.
you see the little tentacle out there?
Yep, I saw it. I saw you're hanging down.
Okay, I okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. So I can't see the comments. I need to turn my thing on to find the comments. I cannot find my thumbnail, so I don't know what I'm going to draw tonight. But I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for anybody that didn't completely drop us off of your radar after a week and a half or 2 weeks, I guess, of absence. And anybody that's followed me on YouTube, thank you very much. My goal, I'm doing a thing on YouTube where I'm currently going through the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book, because I feel like that book is so worthwhile. And it doesn't get a lot of good press. I mean, people like it, but it gets overshadowed by so inferior books that so what I'm doing, and I was kind of inspired by a guy a few years ago that did a thing, an animation thing. Oh, thank you, Fly Fox Pro. I appreciate that. I've said this before, and I think I've been clear on here about my religious beliefs and that sort of thing. So I won't go into all that. But someone on my YouTube channel commented, and I said, my father was a good man. I feel like he raised me to be a good man, and he was always there. And I know that even up until the end, he was proud of me. So I feel like in that respect, I'm way better than a lot of people out there. So. Well, I mean,
you didn't say it that way. You meant you were better off as a guy that, even though he'd lost his father, he had a knowledge that he was,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a great relationship with my father, and he was there. A lot of people come from broken homes. I did not.
Oh man, I think about that all the time, about how some of the friction my parents had, that they still stuck together, and as a result, I may have my own special kind of problems, but they aren't based on a kid that had to go through their parents disappearing on them and going through all those little things.
Wait. I'm confused. Are you saying your parents were good or bad?
They were good for going through it, because
oh yeah,
hard on the heels, the next generation says, let's bag this whole thing. We don't like each other. Let's get a divorce right in the middle of child rearing.
Well, I'll be honest, and
I have raised a kid, so I can't. I can't honestly say I wouldn't have joined right in with that sort of thing if it was going on with me.
Me neither. So I'm not gonna rag on people that can't take it, but
I can't take it. Yep.
I sincerely believe that if you have a kid that kid, and this is one reason why I don't. I mean, I consciously do not have kids. Because I feel like if you have a kid, that kid should be your pretty much your number one responsibility, and I think some people aren't up to that task.
Well, I think
but I didn't want to.
I think the moment it occurs, it's got to be that sort of organic moment where it's got to be the thing that electrifies and is the number one thing that ever happened to you in your life, because that's what you hear from people that have had kids. They says you'll never experience anything like it. It's like they want to force you to experience it if you haven't, because they're so into it.
Well, that's good. Thank God they are, because I know of someone.
But I was going to say on the opposite end of it, there's people that feel like my life is over. I now have this burden, and that feeling is just as it happens too.
Yeah. Oh, that's real. I think I know someone who has a stepson and is like, and he means well, but he's really your typical like bad stepdad, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to convince this guy like, look, man, I know you think this kid's a screw up and his dad's a whatever, but you're responsible for this, for part of this. Part of his
Hmm.
life is your responsibility. Whether you donated any of his DNA, for better or worse, you're married to his mother. He was thrust into your life. You have a responsibility, and I think you have a spiritual responsibility.
Hmm.
To at the very least, and it's like, does this kid think that you love him? Do you love this child? You know,
Yeah.
or are you just like, well, your baggage that came along with mom?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, and
I
so
think it's fairly typically the emotions that people just can't get away from, though, on something like that. The reality of chemistry that occurs between people that don't have chemistry. You know?
well, so years ago, or a couple of years ago, I got a promotion at work, and I was put in charge of a group of people, and I read this book called "A Passion for Excellence," and it's about
Oops.
leadership in manufacturing, and it's about being in management at a manufacturing plant, which is what I am, and the one thing that really stuck with me in that book is your employees have to know that you respect them.
Hmm.
And because I'd always heard the opposite. I'd always heard, oh, your employees have to respect you, but it's like
Or
that
fear
doesn't
you.
matter. You
Just kidding.
do what?
I said, or fear you. I was
Will
just
fear
kidding.
you. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, but
Yeah.
but the but if you can, and I think with this guy, I think it's the same way with him and this stepson of his. It's like,
Hmm.
does this stepson forget about what the stepson thinks of you? Because you're the adult,
Hmm.
allegedly, in this situation. You have to let that stepson know, is he important to you? Do you love him? Do you have an interest in him? Or are you just worried about, well, he didn't clean his room, or he didn't do his homework, or he mouthed off to his mom, or what? And for and this isn't to say that my parents were perfect, but there was never any doubt that my parents loved me and
Yeah. Well, that's
always wanted the best for me. Now, did I drive them crazy? Sure, I probably did. I would have drove me crazy.
yeah. 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 Exactly.
But and I think that, anyway, I don't know how we got started talking about that. Oh, I was talking about how good my dad was. And again, I mean, my parents, I don't remember them fighting a lot, but I know they did.
Well,
But
yeah, and they try to keep that under wraps. And my parents also had some really dark moments that I wasn't sophisticated enough to realize just how bad it was. But in retrospect, I realized, man, that was on the rocks. You know.
oh yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would ever say my parents had a moment where I'd be like, oh man. But I know that they argued occasionally. I mean, who
Hmm.
doesn't argue occasionally?
Oh yeah,
So,
sure.
so moving on from that, Ellis.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Uh,
In terms of things that make you feel bad, we'll touch
nah,
on more of them tonight. Go ahead.
yeah. No, no, no. What I was going to ask is, okay, so I sent you an email. I don't want to. I don't know how much of this we want to talk about in public, but I sent Ellis an email because we saw Barry. Dave and I saw Barry at Ollie's,
Okay.
and Barry's a guy that does a podcast with
Yeah.
Dave and I, which he's kind of backed off from, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, Ellis.
Oh, I kind of did. I kind of you're talking about the Better Than Fiction podcast, which is
Yes,
has a great potential as content for YouTube. All you guys would have to do is edit
I'm
the
getting,
heck
I'm
out
getting,
of it
I'm getting
and,
there. I'm getting there.
and turn it into little
Get,
visuals.
let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So so uh,
Sorry.
so I've been working on YouTube. Well, uh, so Barry has kind of quit because he's overwhelmed. He can't. He's too busy to read stuff. He's got his own thing going on. Real busy at work. Blah blah blah. So he is basically not really resigned, but he's taking a break from it.
Right.
Okay, so the other thing is we do another podcast with Ellis called
Mm-hmm.
Classic Cinema Podcast. Barry is very concerned because one of the members of our little band is not gotten vaccinated yet.
That's right.
Is Ellis. And so, but Barry said, we saw Barry at Ollie's, and he said, well, if Ellis gets his vaccination, then we can do the podcast because Ellis has an underlying health issue, which I don't want to talk about it because of HIPAA. but but
I am a communist. No, I couldn't think of an
yeah,
underlying health issue.
I don't know what you would call that. Ellis has
I have a I have one big lung, and it's my small lung. Everybody has two different sized lungs, and the one they left me with is the small one,
Okay, so
intact.
I think it's right to be concerned about you. You're not concerned about you, which is fine. It's you. You cannot be. But anyway, so I reached out to Ellis. When was that? Was it last night or the night before? I think it was Monday night.
Yeah,
And I
something like
just
that.
said, "Hey, are you considering it?" And you're still not considering, which is fine. That's a personal choice. I don't judge you for it. Um, but first off, I wanted to make sure that you realize I was not being critical of you.
Oh no,
For
I know you guys can't help but think I'm a complete moron, but I can't help but uh,
think we're
try to
morons. That's
pass
fair.
on to you what how completely mind controlled you have been. I could probably break it down in terms of like day 12 or whatever and all that, and go through it with you to show you when your brains got taken over by the pod people. But there's no point in on it because
well, okay.
you're not any less of a person for it. You're with the main of everybody. You actually believe that there is such a thing as a vaccine
Okay.
for something that there has never been a vaccine for
I,
and very likely
I don't.
never will be.
I've never claimed to be. Well, first off, I don't agree with you, which is
Okay.
fair. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
you and I can disagree peacefully.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, but here's the difference between you and me. I'm sick of being stuck in my house.
Well, yeah, I
It,
mean, oh, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. That's the deal. The moment you pass through the window where you say, okay, now we can all go back to kind of what we were doing. And if it takes your imaginary vaccine to allow yourself to do it, then that's fine. That's fine.
that
If it
where I'm
takes
at.
a mind trick like that, go ahead and do that. You know.
Well, either way, either way. So okay, anyway, I just wanted to make sure that that we were cool.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
we're cool. We're cool.
okay,
As long as
I don't.
nobody comes after me and says you have to have it. See, I'm unlikely to be flying, so that doesn't matter. Uh,
I'm
I'm
flying in
trying to
August.
think of other things that'll keep me from doing if I don't get it.
Fly,
What else can they keep you from doing?
well, they keep you from doing about anything if they put their
Yeah,
mind to
that's
it.
true. Yeah, I mean, they are the government. But if nobody is, if nobody is having it occur to them that this is just another, long list of things that is just
Oh,
basically
absolutely.
following Stalin's notion that Stalin's chief of secret police. He said, show me the citizen, I'll find a crime. And these are just, it's like regulations. If you pile the populace up with enough regulations, they have become not a free people. They are just people that are waiting for their permissions to uh,
Oh,
to behave as the way they think they can.
well,
You know,
okay.
they
First off, I have no illusion that we're free people, so
yeah,
I'm well aware that. I mean, but also I know that I have to get along, get a
sure. Well, yeah.
so
You're still in the workforce. A variety of things that's got nothing to do with
you have
me anymore.
more freedom than I do when it comes to that kind of thing, for
Yeah.
sure. But God's face looks terrible. But anyway, so Dave and I have decided that Better Than Fiction, Barry's probably never going to join up with again.
Okay.
Okay, so uh,
That's kind of sad in a way, but God, you guys pump the content out. You got a lot of them.
oh yeah, we're going to do 2 issues or 2 episodes Friday. Anyway,
Um,
uh, I would not miss that so much if it went away. I mean, I
hmm
kind of enjoy doing it, but what I really am going to miss is Classic Cinema podcast.
Well, yeah, that was
Dave
fun.
Dave wants to keep doing them. I don't think we should do them. I won't do it without the four of us. Not the same. Okay. So
Okay.
Dave's like, well, maybe we should do a different movie podcast. And I said we need to move content to YouTube. Okay, this is where this is where we're
Okay.
going with it.
Okay.
We need to move content to YouTube because I
hmm
have almost 300 YouTube followers, you
Yeah.
know. And so why not move the I have more subscribers than you do. So
Sure.
so uh so I don't know. I mean, obviously, the movie thing would, and of course, then Dave was like, "Well, I need to edit it." And I'm like, "Have you ever edited video?" And because Dave really likes to edit those podcasts; they're heavily edited,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
He cuts out a
anything I
lot
do,
of
done.
dumb. I'm thankful he's cut out a lot of dumb stuff I've said because the ones I checked on, it's like, hey, thank God that dumb thing I said is not in there.
So let me ask you this, and so would you be interested in recording either podcast with us again at some point?
Sure.
Okay, okay. So you're okay, and I still want to. I'm. We need to start meeting again on Fridays. That was fun when Dave met us the other day. You know,
As long as you
yeah.
guys agree that we will.
Not get vaccinated.
No, no, I'm just.
Cough
Yeah,
on you.
yeah. Take the anti-vaccine. Yeah,
We'll take the
yeah.
anti
That's where I'll come up with the vaccine neutralizer. Yeah.
the vaccine neutralizer. I'd get to rip out my adamantium and I'd have bone claws then.
It goes after the microchip that they've injected in you.
That microchip's connected to my DNA helix. There's no way it's coming out. We had our second shot, Michelle and I, Saturday or Friday, and
Excellent. Now
Saturday.
you're good for 3 months. All right.
No, I think well. First off, I think first off, I know someone that had the COVID, and they've
hmm
given blood twice since then, and they've had the antibodies for like a year and a half later. So anything about 6 months, I think, is insane because the antibodies last longer than that. But uh, I think
There are
whatever.
people you probably couldn't give it to. There is probably some genetic stuff going on. There's some health factors. Scott Adams has been hitting hard the fact that the comorbidity of obesity is about the main thing that determines whether or not you're going to die from it. And
Well,
so
yeah.
I mean, it's like there's things out there to know about it that that you'd be dumb not to pay attention to. But because I've never been satisfied with a straight answer about whether there can be such a thing as a vaccine, and they're just using the word because that's what people would expect to get. Uh, you know, like science has marched on and given us something that never existed before. And I just don't buy it. I just can't. Not until someone tells me that it's just like. See, the flu vaccine can be pretty iffy too, but a flu is a different. It's a totally different bug because it can be injected as a an inert thing, and your body will fight, produce an immunity that works. The coronavirus never happened yet, and probably never will because it's one of those chores that science finds itself baffled by. You're getting all the. You remember how Paul Harvey used to have all this long litany of things he'd say at the end of his shows, where it just sounded like we were going to all be in flying cars in the next couple of weeks, and
Yeah,
it's like I can't tell you how many things that Harvey said that just sounded great, dental stuff and all kinds of stuff. But that stuff never happened,
yeah.
or most of it didn't happen. And it's just like popular mechanics. Some of that stuff does happen, of course, especially stuff that involves engineering can fairly often happen. But all the long wait involved in waiting for them to cure cancer and do a lot of other
Wow,
things. It's like you know, don't get your hopes up.
that is the thing. It's like, well, if we can get out this vaccine so quick, why haven't we been able to cure cancer?
Exactly. I know there's a whole lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, you know,
Oh, yeah. For all I know, we could be canceled on YouTube by my extract. There may be an algorithm
oh
detector
yeah, might
that
be get booted.
says what? And he's
Some
a he's
I had some weird stuff get booted off of YouTube, and it's like how I mean within minutes of it being posted, you
uh-huh.
know, and it's like how a human couldn't listen to it that quick. How are they booting me?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was like booted for like illicit content, and of course it wasn't anything of the sort. In fact, it was the opposite. But when I fought it, and they were like, "Oh, okay, well, yeah, you're right."
Well, it's the well, that's not too good with that marker. I'm gonna have to change markers. That was it had a pretty good underdrawing to it until I mucked it up with that marker. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. YouTube is all anybody does that has you know a channel that you might pay attention to and want to listen to by virtue of you know uh, being smart or intellectual is something that's at hazard. And I every time I hear about the latest escalation from YouTube, it's like I think of that poor Muslim girl that her channel was so important to her and they canceled it, and she showed up at the campus of YouTube with a handgun, a little Glock, I think she bought, and started popping away at him. But I don't think she killed anybody, but she guaranteed she was going to die, and she did die.
Oh, yeah,
And
I heard this story.
oh, you haven't heard about that? It's been back some time that there was a little Muslim girl that taught kind of like her version of physical fitness, and she she got her channel canceled for something. I forget what their reasoning was on her, and she just yeah, and she fought it. She fought it in other
Yeah,
ways,
the
but by
proper
the end of it, when she realized it was over, she just got in her car and went to where she knew the Yahoo, not Yahoo, YouTube campus was, and shot a few. I don't think that's the deal. I think that's the deal. I don't think she actually killed anybody,
except
but
herself.
yeah, except herself by doing it.
But yeah, by letting the cops do it or whatever.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yep. Yeah, I'll have to. But
Yep.
I'm surprised nobody ever brings that up. And you know what? The reason nobody ever brings that up, it may
Because they
be
don't want to
because it may be an automatic cancellation, and so it may, and you can imagine that would be one on the list of saying don't ever mention that woman, you know, and if you do, you're off, So I may have just
get. Yeah.
put a big bullseye on my content here.
I think we're still up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still
Oh yeah.
recording.
Right at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. Well,
Hey, you know what I spent most of my day doing?
what?
Or a big part of it. I've been painting the house.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it's funny. I just hated the idea of the challenge that was going to face me on the
Wait a minute.
really high in the air parts. At the apex of the part that really needed it, and I solved it totally. It was so much fun, and of course you can get those little extenders, and I've got one. I could get up a certain height, but I also hated the idea of working off a ladder because it hurts the soles of your feet, and it's precarious. And so I came up with my own scaffolding. This is for
Really?
anybody who wants it. If you've got those big deluxe trash cans, those things are very stable with a couple of hollow core doors on top of them, and
Oh, sure.
that puts you up, 5 feet. And then I've got a little step up. I'm on that step up, and I was able to actually get all the way to the top of the roof and get paint on the areas up there. And it felt kind of cool, of course, and it was a big adrenaline rush to do it, to get up there like that.
Won't work for me.
Oh, have you got a little too sensitive to heights?
No, I got a 2-story house.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. Or you could have said, "I've got more sense."
Yeah, well, I got more sense. No, no. No. Yeah, that is. I when I was in junior high, I helped a guy painting houses. So I mean, I would. We've painted this house before, but man, it was a bear getting that because
Oh
there's
yeah.
one side of the house that's got a lot of wood on it. It's
Mm-hmm.
the second story is all wood on one side, actually
Mm-hmm.
on 3 sides, but there's one spot actually around the side and the back, and it's 2 stories. So you got to be able to paint all of that, and then you got to do the
Mm-hmm.
eave. These are the worst
Yeah.
because it's way the heck up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you know. So last time we got our house painted, I just paid somebody. I
Yeah.
think it was over.
Exactly. Those people, they just whip in and out too. It's like having a roofer work. You don't realize just how quickly that's going to happen until you watch somebody tear all the stuff off the roof and replace it, and it's like, wow, that was worth
Yeah,
paying for almost.
yeah. I mean, God, roofs are expensive.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
everything's
and
expensive.
apparently the materials, the shingles, have gone through the roof lately.
Yeah. Oh, building materials have gone insane for some reason.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if it's shortages due to the virus. I think part of it is with the stimulus money. A lot of people are having stuff done at their houses,
Hmm.
and the shortage of supplies. My uncle's a contractor, and he hadn't slowed down one bit during this whole pandemic thing. So I mean,
Well, that's great. I'm going to step off, and now that I'm going to pay off because I'm so pleased that basically I'm only out about $220 thus far just for the paint, and I think it's going to cover it. And so based on I can pay that off this month. I'm going to go ahead and step off and finally get my hot water. And
oh, do you have somebody that'll do it?
yeah, I'm just mentally decided I will be doing it. I'll go
Oh,
ahead
you'll
and
do it.
well, I won't
Or,
be able to. I'll pay somebody to come in and either give me a. Of course, you told me yours cost $1,200. I can't do that. I've
do
got to
what?
get somebody that agrees to come in and try to repair it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if my guys might not be the best guy to come in and repair it. What's wrong
Yeah,
with it? Do
yeah.
you
No,
know?
I think I've got somebody that claims that that's how they start things anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
Well,
was some.
that's good. I hate, we were ours was out for about a week, and I was like, golly, poor Ellis.
Yeah, yeah. No, no. Hot water is something that when I get it back, it'll be like, what in the world
God,
was
you'll
I
be
thinking?
dying in heaven.
How did I? Yeah, how did I get
How did
on without?
I ever? You'll go. How did I ever do this?
Yep.
Well, I would have said that, but we lost water for 3 days during that ice storm,
Mm-hmm.
and when we got water back, it was like, okay, this if I can survive this,
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was long after that the heat went or the hot water went out, and I was like, I survived no water. I just took cold showers, man. I just grinned and
Oh, yeah,
jumped in
yeah.
that.
It's pretty amazing. Because in the height of the summer, I have been just jumping under a cold shower, and you can stand it. You get your body
You can take
acclimates after a
it ain't
little bit.
that. It's cold,
Hmm.
but my thing was I didn't feel like I was getting my skin clean like I would
Hmm.
with nice hot water,
Yeah.
but
No, no. It's a totally different experience.
but yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we go camp and it was always cold water showers.
Yeah,
So I
jumping in a
mean,
mountain stream.
well, that wasn't that kind of camp, but yeah, I mean, we weren't quite that rustic, but
It's funny. There's a so anyway, Natasha, she's got a note wants me to comment on iPad Pros. Any tips? And I've got an iPad that just happens to work with the pencil, so I'm almost and also is got the sensitivity, so it works all right as a drawing tool in the way that an iPad Pro works. So so yeah, I would say the one I haven't downloaded yet that I'm definitely going to be getting is Heavy Paint. It's got this interface that it's all about saying quit with the fruity options for how you handle digital painting. We want you working with these big fat tiles and you just making choices about color. And you can also choose the tile shape, but it's only kind of could be considered like a crude kind of tool, which is interesting to put something out that is purposely crude so that you can't help but produce painterly work. So you're thinking about strictly your shapes. So I'm going to be getting that, and I've seen some stuff that just like it doesn't blow me away. It's just like, yeah, that has got charm to it. I'm digging it. And the other one is if you like Photoshop and you know Photoshop, go ahead and get Art Studio Pro. It's the price is right, and it's got pretty much all the interface, all the hotkeys you're used to with Photoshop, and that's important to me because I haven't dipped as deeply into Procreate as I probably ought to because I see that Procreate can do anything an artist would want. I see that just by the art that's produced by people that know Procreate. So that's an obvious one. But other than that, I'm not so up on it that I can give you that much in the way of recommendation. The thing I would you're smart on the iPad Pro because you can get something that works with your uh, your port that where you get your energy from. What are they? Anyway, but that also nowadays operates as something you can plug in an external drive, which I can't, and I bought one thinking I could use it, and then I discovered that no, 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 that's for the people that are paid for that extra of being an iPad Pro. It would be nice to have a nice big old external drive. You could just be using, we used to call it sneaker data. You plug in a USB, take you a bit of data and, an image and transfer it, go down the hall
So
with it. Go ahead.
so you said you were talking about what was it called, heavy paint.
Yeah, heavy
So
paint. Yeah.
so one of the things that you said that I thought was interesting was you said it kind of forces you. I'm gonna put words in your mouth, but
Yeah, go ahead.
forces you to work dumb
Yeah,
or
yeah.
work with it, and
Work crudely. Yeah. Did I say dumb? Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I'm putting and that reminded me of a article I read or something I read years ago, and it was saying that when Adobe went, and I don't know if any of this is still relevant. I suspect it isn't. But when Adobe went to the current subscription model for Photoshop, a lot of digital painters who work in the entertainment industry, I don't know if it was movies or games, it was one of the two, did not go along with it because they actually like the older versions of Photoshop. And I think I want to say Photoshop 6 was the one that a lot of them liked because it didn't have a lot of extra stuff to it. And they were
Hmm.
just using Photoshop layers and they had their brushes they used, but they weren't reliant on a lot of the bells and whistles that Photoshop had added over the years.
Yep.
And that has always kind of stuck with me, you know.
Well, that's interesting because I did get off the whatchamacallit,
Cloud.
Natasha International paid $1,200 for our iPad Pro, and Barry is a recent adapter of the iPad Pro.
Barry.
The Barry we know.
He didn't have a pro.
Yeah, he does. He bought it recently. Yeah.
He did. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't realize that.
yeah,
Oh, since we've been recording over there, then.
yeah, probably so. Yeah.
Oh, I
He
didn't
didn't. He
realize.
didn't show it off. He didn't. He didn't want you guys to touch it. Probably. He knew you guys would be wanting to touch his
Would
pro,
be,
and he's probably in
be
that state
oh,
where you are when you first buy something. You don't want anybody to hurt it, or
well.
at least I get that way. It's like, hey, don't touch that. I just got that.
That's why anybody drive my car.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want anybody to drive your car. Hey,
No,
let me
no,
borrow that car. I bet that Subaru really goes.
yeah, like you'll find out.
Yeah.
It's a it's a stick shift. I don't think you can drive a stick shift, can you?
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's how I started.
I gotcha.
And
I'm thinking about
I
getting me a truck,
oh, really?
a small truck.
Mm-hmm.
The not anytime soon, but I'm thinking about when I replace that. I might get a truck.
You might
Uh,
get a truck.
well, here's the thing. My dad had a truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I would borrow it frequently. Well, that's I may buy dad's truck, but there's family controversy, so I may not have that opportunity. If I had the opportunity, I'll buy dad's truck. Now it'll be a third car, uh,
Well,
but
that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. My dad
just
bought
the truck
my
is so handy.
grandfather's truck. Yeah.
Do what? You had your
My dad
grandfather?
bought my grandfather's truck. Yeah,
Yeah.
from them, but as a way to kind of help out, to add some money to the till, and and you probably wouldn't be doing it for that exact
No.
reason, but it was interesting. He I guess he just resolved, okay, this is a piece of junk, but he kept it running and got lots of use out of it.
Well, my dad's truck is actually pretty nice. It's a little Nissan. I've driven it quite a bit, but like I said, there's some little bit of family controversy because I mean the family's driving it, so we'll see what the condition it's returned in. But
Hmm.
uh, my brother and I have talked. I may go in half of my brother's what'll happen,
Yeah.
more than
Uh-huh.
likely. But and there was this. Well, this person will buy it, but they want to make payments, and I said I will write you a check right now for that truck if you and of course you when you tell people when somebody says, "Well, I'll buy that if I can make payments to the person," and then you say, "Well, I'll just give them cash right now," that usually
Hmm.
ends that
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, when you gotta sometimes you gotta do that to people. But anyway, so if the truck gets returned, I will probably buy it just because I want to have one. I want to have one
Hmm.
available, you
Hmm.
know, and because I used it occasionally, and my brother's the same way, and so we're like, well, we're going half on it, and that would
Well,
help
yeah,
mom.
you guys, you could even do that. You could just park it in some place that you can both get
My
at
brother,
it. Maybe
my brother has a spare spot in his garage, so
there you
if we
go.
bought it and he went in half with me, we'd probably leave
Yeah,
it at his house
he could be the guy, with the footprint problem. Yeah, why not?
with the. Oh yeah. I don't really want to leave it in my driveway because
Hmm.
uh, my people go through people's cars in my neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
is a problem with that with our times. Yeah,
yeah. You keep your truck. You keep your truck in the garage, don't you?
yeah. You after I had that little break in, I talked me into the idea of making room for it. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because you didn't, and I was like, "Why are you not keeping this in the garage?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, yeah, yeah. It was alien to you, the idea that a guy would have his car out there exposed. And everybody around here has their car on the streets. But after that break in, I said, if there
Maybe
was a
Scott.
lot of hostility involved in that break in, I don't want it aimed at my truck, you know,
Yeah,
and
you need that truck.
yeah, I need it. It's my vehicle. I guess it's going away someday, and at that point, maybe maybe I'll go away maybe I'll tie it so I don't have to worry about thinking about where I'm going to get the money for the next one. Of course, that's easy. Anybody can get a car because any car dealer is happy to let you go into debt for anything. You
Oh,
know.
sure. As long as you're willing to make the payment.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's just a month's worth of trying. I had to replace the screen protector twice already. Yeah, I got the one that's what is it called? I think it's the most highly recommended. But yeah, I
Well,
guess it makes a difference. I couldn't tell. The slick glass like texture didn't bug me so much, but I couldn't tell that it had taken away a lot of the glassiness of it. But I assume it did, and uh, I'm not able to calibrate with my touch. This is a pretty good one here. I think I'll just leave this as a kind of a rough sketch. I like her pose. I've got her nicely got a
now,
lot of
you doing
attitude.
or you just
Oh,
are? I mean,
I'm doing. I'm only up to two. You can't even decipher that, but it's especially with my camera. Oh well, I'll get some ink on it. People will be able to pay attention to it or decipher it.
well, you're going to drop it on the internet somewhere, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I do all of it. Yeah. So I watched a movie recently that you've probably seen. Something Wicked This Way Comes. Maybe you haven't seen it. Have you ever
I
seen it?
haven't. I've read part of the audiobook.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a
I
pretty
like
cool
Ray Brad.
Bradbury.
I like Ray Bradbury, but I think I like him more in theory than I actually like him in practice, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
horrible
So,
to
so
say.
that can be true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Every
What's
fall,
in
Ray Bradbury,
Yeah.
he's a fall author to me.
Yes, he's the October people. Yeah.
The
What
October
what is
people.
weird is he does things that are sincerely macabre. You know, he does stuff that is really well thought out for giving you a goose pimples and stuff on some of his work. Even though you associate him with being like this guy that gives you a nostalgia for the good old days, or fairly often with his work, but his ability to give you goose pimples and do horror is, I think, I think you'd think of him almost more as a horror author. Well, some people would anyway. Maybe not everyone, but
He's kind of like the Twilight Zone.
yeah, yeah, hmm
You know, just kind of a not real. I wouldn't say horror has become kind of a almost synonymous with slasher in our era. There has
yeah,
to be
yeah.
an
Well, and yeah, and it's awful, but it is. Yeah,
yeah, and he's not like that. I don't think,
yeah,
but he does have definite like some weird creepiness to him.
yeah. I My favorite story, and I had to find it again. And I think I finally managed to. It was in a Playboy, and it's about this guy that becomes obsessed with his skeleton, and
Oh, what
it
is
was just
that?
he was just horrified by the idea that he had to deal with the fact that he had that awful grinning white teeth thing that underneath, you know, what he did love is on his flesh, but he hated the idea of that skeleton being under there.
Yeah.
And he manages to get rid of it at one point, and his wife comes home and steps in him in a soft blobby mess.
Yeah, he's a massive pulp.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well.
Okay, sorry. Oh, it wasn't my fault necessarily.
So how's everything else going with you?
Pretty good. Like I say, that painting has kind of lit my fire. I liked solving that problem of getting scaffolding, because that was the way, you know, in my mind. I said, man, I wish I could afford to and not
Scaffold.
have to go through the hassle of working from scaffolding,
Oh
and then
yeah.
to come up with my own scaffold. It's kind of
You were
cool.
pleased with your own genius.
Yes, yes. It was a one of those moments. It was me being Elon Musk. I noticed uh, Ethan Nicole shared a problem in a photo of, I don't know who did it. I hope he did it, because otherwise he was going to be mad at somebody. He had a, glass top table that was shattered, and the table included like thousands of pieces of Legos. So he was asking, should I just forget the Legos and trash them all?
Oh no,
Because you know
no.
you wouldn't want the kids encountering glass that you didn't get out of your Lego collection.
There's an easy way to do this.
Okay, go ahead, solve it, and I'll tell you if you solved it the same way I solve it.
Okay, here's what you do. You get a large bucket.
Aha.
You fill it with water.
Uh
You
huh.
dump Legos. You it would help if you had a way to agitate it
Right,
somehow.
sure.
Maybe
That's
put the lid on it,
fascinating.
shake it,
You
take the lid
instantly
off,
came up with that. That's amazing. Yep.
and
Because I did
take the
I came up with the same thing.
yeah, because Legos should float, right?
Yeah, they should.
The glass won't float.
The
Yep,
glass
that's
won't
how I.
float.
But I
That's
solved it
amazing.
fast.
You did that instantly, because I thought about it pretty quick and came up with it.
That's
But I figure
Uh,
we're both the Elon Musk levels of IQ. Probably is
well,
why
you
that
know what the
happened.
deal is, I do this at work every single day. I have to solve stupid problems like that.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
know,
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, okay, well, here's how we'll do this.
Hmm.
You know,
Very good
and
though. I'm impressed, Scott. That's the reason I hang
well,
out with you. You've got an IQ that I'm not embarrassed to be around. I guess I'm
that's good.
kidding.
There's probably another way. I was thinking there was a way. The problem, like you like if you wanted to extract the glass from the Legos, you could heat it up, but you want the Legos from the glass, not you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
won't.
yeah. You could melt it all into a pancake. Yeah. No.
I, how fine was the glass? Was it
Oh,
like
they
six?
look like pretty. They look like very big chunks. It didn't look like it turned into. But you know, you
Well,
can't
if they were
trust that. You can't trust that. It might have
well, if
had
they
that.
were big, what I would do? Here's what I would do. I would I would probably strain it through something that got the big chunks out, or maybe just
Hmm.
pick them. And but I would probably come up with something to blow air on it. See, I'm
Yeah.
trying to think if the Legos would blow and the glass wouldn't, but that might not be the
Well,
case.
yeah, it'd be the heaviest thing. Yeah, you could turn your something on that would blow.
But I think like
Just
a
get it up
water.
high enough to where your Legos get blown all the way across the room into another corner. Get your leaf
Yeah,
blower in there, and
like
the glass
a
wouldn't
lid
make it.
will
Should
blow
make the
everything.
travel. Hmm.
But that's what I would do the I would do the water thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that's the most the I don't know easiest, most foolproof, whatever
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess this one up with a marker.
Um, so I've been getting some. You know, I talked to you about which I don't think he's approached you yet, and I don't know when he will. But I talked to you about doing a pinup for Heaven's Rejects.
Sure, you bet.
I gave your information to the writer, and
Hmm.
he in fact he contacted me today and said he hadn't had a chance to contact any of the people I gave him, but he I
Well,
saw
yeah,
some other stuff.
I appreciate that on the level of your hot as heck publisher now having my name. That's great. Thank you.
Oh yeah, no, you got to do a good job.
Okay. Well, no one said anything about that. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
you got to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I don't know. I don't know when. If you know, I don't know how many he's going to need, uh, and when he's going to need them. I mean, I think it'd just be cool to. He was showing me one that was obviously very digital. That looked kind of cool, but I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't. It was too. I'm going to use the term clip arty looking, and it wasn't
Yeah.
clip art, but it just kind of looked like
Oh,
okay.
I know what you're talking about. Your cover. Yeah, yeah. That cover art that we
Well,
actually we
this is a pinup that a guy did.
okay.
You know, which by the way, I got a new cover that was. Did I show you the one? I think he sent me another one that had the three characters on it, and it looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving on up, but yeah, I mean, apparently everybody's very excited about the book, which you know, I'm just like going, God, it's done now. I want to work on something else, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
apparently, you know,
Your
it's
next assignment.
yeah, give it, yeah. Give me something more to do. Supposedly he's got something. I don't know. You know, it's you know, I'm, I don't know. I was talking to one of the guys who's going to do one of the pinups, or hopefully will do one of the pinups, and I was telling him, you know, I'd love to draw. My problem is I need to have a collaborator, but it needs to
Hmm.
be somebody that I'm working with, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is exactly what I want to do. needs to be somebody that excites me, obviously,
Hmm.
but it needs to also be, I don't know. There needs to be an end game, but because if I don't have I'm not good at like self motivating myself. I think you're better at that than I am in some aspects.
Well, no, yeah, you have cranked stuff out. I'm just, what do you call it? I just do things and don't quit in terms of
That
like a very slow burn in terms of creativity. I just have it on tap to do and eventually get it done, but it's no way to make a living the way I'm doing it. It's why I have avoided the idea of the crowdfunded stuff. It's because no, I don't want the pressure. Everybody be looking for it, etc. I don't want that.
it's funny you say that because I'm like and what's bad is I get and like I was talking to somebody and I was like, I mean, when I sit down and think about it, it's like, because I mean, for so long I was like, man, I want to work at Marvel and I want to draw Spider-Man, and
Hmm.
now it's like I don't. It's well, first off, it doesn't pay enough.
Hmm.
Not start
Oh
off,
no.
I mean, and I certainly couldn't quit my job and do it.
Hmm.
Not no way, because it didn't. I couldn't. Wouldn't want to take the pay cut, and so then it's like, well, you know, I don't know.
Nasser has dropped in for a quick. He says beep boop just to announce his presence. And Nasser saw a movie that he was wildly enthusiastic about that we both saw on a classic cinema podcast.
Oh yeah, what was it? Phantom of the Paradise.
Out of the Past, which was unanimous. We all loved it. That's another, and it was kind of funny. We we finally got our sensitivity to the fact that we were saying, "Hey, we're picking a lot of Mitchums here,"
Oh
we have
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Because we
But
did another one we did with
the
the war.
one,
You know,
yeah,
oh,
the Torah, and we also did.
gosh, we did do Tora. Man, I miss our
Was
pod.
Mitchum in that? Was Mitchum in that? I don't think he was.
I don't
I
know.
don't think so. No, I don't think so. He, but he was in the Night of the Hunter, which we
That's the
all
one.
loved that one too.
Yeah. Love and hate, burn of eternal struggle.
Nasser says, "I love Phantom of the Paradise. It's interesting.
I
I,
dug it.
I
Pick.
posted. Yeah, you dug it. No, golly, I couldn't believe how much uh, Dave hated it. That's kind of bugged me in a way. You don't get to hate it that much, But I guess that's always going to happen. You
Sure.
went ahead and hated Freebie and the Bean for all of us, in terms of like how
Oh,
much
really?
you hated
Not
it,
that.
uh, which was funny since I was my pick and Phantom of the Paradise was my pick. But Phantom of the Paradise was interesting. Paul Williams wrote a little anecdote that another guy named Dave Walker retweeted, which was really cool. Dave Walker used to be the publisher for Badass Mofo, which was centered around the black exploitation era. And I had a table next to him back in the '90s at the San Diego Comic Con. He's a cool guy, and his little comment that he forwarded from Paul Williams was about the fact that this little fan had his album of Phantom of the Paradise. First he tells you that it was a total flop, and there was people telling him, "Man, you got to give up if that's what you're going to produce." In terms of like, if that's what you're going to be associated with, it was always a total flop. It becomes a little bit of a a cult thing later, but it made no money. So this fan comes up and gets this signed album from him,
Yeah.
and that little fan turns into Guillermo del Toro. And there was a couple of other instances of people that use Williams later on because of their eternal enthusiasm for Phantom of the Paradise. And he talks about, says, you don't call yourself a loser for something you did that you have perceived as a loss or whatever, or something, because that's not the way it goes out. It goes out and all these different receptors uh, take that in and they say, this is genius. That's, I'm
You
kind
know
of that
what's
way.
First off, that's a great way to end this because
Yeah.
I like that as a message, but
Yeah.
that's also I so I'm getting colored pages in from Heaven's Rejects, and I'm getting all this stuff, and I'm like, you see it, and it's just like, oh god, I should have done this or that, or I mean,
Mm-hmm.
all the terrible bits, and I try and remember, like, okay, this is going out, and you know, somebody will see this, people will
Mm-hmm.
see, and they will have their reaction, and you never know what will happen with it. You know.
That's right. No, no. It's the important part is like, and you get that little note from everybody. It's like, finish it,
Yep, getting it done.
and you did it.
Yep, it's not out yet, but it's darn close. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I keep telling myself. So many people who have projects that I think are terrible. It's done and it gets out, and it works for them because of that. So I need to get mine out.
Paradise. Yeah, you're right, Nasser. Paradise is bits and pieces from Faust, Phantom of the Opera, and Picture of Dorian Gray, and maybe a couple others. Mixed them all together with rock music, Paul Williams rock music. And that guy that played Beef, he was kind of like the standout for me. He was, I forget his name, but he was also great in used cars. He just is one of those guys that can turn funny on in a big way. To me, funny is the most subjective of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, like you made a note. How
Call
long
it
have we been at this?
um,
Let me check.
about an hour and 15 minutes looks like.
Sure enough, sure enough. Yeah, well, we'll call it quits. It's good. It was good to get back together,
Oh,
and
absolutely, absolutely, man. And
and
thanks for checking it out, for sticking
yeah,
with us. Like,
thanks for everybody coming by. So you ready to end? You want to add anything, Scott?
no, except I would add, I'm trying to boost my YouTube numbers. So if you don't follow me, please follow me on YouTube.
Yeah, drop by.
But yeah, yep.
Okay, ending broadcast now. End.